All right, let's get going here. I think we've talked to these guys before, and this is something that we're going to see more and more of. The E-MazingRace is coming to Hamilton. The event promotes economic and environmental sustainability with the world's longest electrical vehicle rally or race. Stephen Beda is with us, Regional Director, Central Canada, Sun Country Highway, and he's with us now. Good afternoon, Stephen. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for taking the time. Explain, first of all, what Sun Country Highway Limited is.
Well, we're an all-Canadian company that's privately funded that takes a lot of interest in trying to help create sustainable economies, and we see electric vehicles as a great way to do that. Combining with renewable energies, electric vehicles can help create a lot of jobs, help save our planet, and also save a lot of money for people because really the cost to operate an electric car is dirt cheap, about 1/10 the cost of gas.
Really? All right. What is the E-MazingRace?
Well, the E-MazingRace is the world's longest electric vehicle rally, and we started at various points across the continent. Yesterday, our first location was Seattle, Washington, and today we did a simultaneous launch at Vancouver, today at the North Wentworth Arena in Hamilton, Ottawa, and Trois-Rivières as well. And everyone is descending upon the final destination of Summerside, PEI, by September 20th. So, and various schedules. People will be, today was a ceremonial launch event at the North Wentworth Arena. And the reason why we chose that particular place in Hamilton is because it has the most amount of electric vehicle charging stations of any location in Canada. So kudos to the city of Hamilton.
And how many is that?
That's 10 chargers all at one place. It's at a LEED certified arena, and it just so happens to be the stimulus for the formation of a club called the Golden Horseshoe Electric Vehicle Association, or GHEVA as it's called. We've got about 50 members now that have formed as a result of this great facility having charging stations available. We meet there on a monthly basis, and it gets a whole community of EV owners together to help educate people and teach how electric vehicles are really ready for prime time. There's no need for people to think, wait till next year. Now's the time to make the difference.
What's the objective of the actual race? Is this to encourage charging facilities or just generally bring awareness to this?
Well, it's an education piece for the industry of electric vehicles and sustainable energies, but it's also about creating ecotourism opportunities. See, what happens is each one of the charging stations are enabled with what we call a ZapTap, and it has a QR code and an NFC or near field communications device attached to the charging station. So you can take your smartphone and you can scan the code on the charger and you get points. And also you'll be notified about any marketing opportunities or promotions, coupons, incentives that are happening in and around the region where the charging station is located. So you may get a coupon for a restaurant stay or a hotel stay. A lot of places where we have chargers are hotels and restaurants and malls and coffee shops, those sorts of things.
These chargers are free for the most part now, are they not, or are they?
Yeah, they operate on the free Wi-Fi model for the most part. The reason why that works is because the cost to charge up an electric car is less than the cost of a cup of coffee. It's amazingly inexpensive, and so all these various partners we have.
Wait a sec. Let me run this by. So if I'm going to plug in my electric car, it won't cost me any more than a cup of coffee.
Actually, if you charge at any of the public stations, like along the Trans-Canada, where we have these chargers in all the hotels, malls, and restaurants, it's actually free to the end user. Like the EV owner doesn't pay a dime.
Right.
You see, all these places want your business, so they'll give you free charging, just like they give you free Wi-Fi.
Wow, that's. Let's talk about cars themselves. Is interest in EV cars growing? Is it subsided a little bit? Where are people's heads with all of this?
Well, this is, cell phones, fax machines, personal computers, 1990. Let's pick that date. This is early in the development, but we do see massive development. The sales have doubled over the last several months in Canada and as well as in the U.S. We've only got about 3,500 EVs in Canada right now. It's a pretty small number, but we've only had the cars being manufactured for a little over a year and brought into Canada. So, this is the tip of the iceberg. So it's really, the future looks extremely bright because, if you build it, they will come. That's the mentality, this philosophy. If we can get the infrastructure in the ground, people will, understand that there isn't any limitations and realize that, 80 to 90% of charging is done at homes and at workplaces with an electric vehicle. So it's just an added bonus to have public charging.
If everybody was to buy an electric vehicle tomorrow and start charging them, what about the strain on the electrical system? And, there's some critics that would say, the energy that's needed to produce enough electricity to drive all the cars would be as pollutive as having the cars.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, it's impossible to have everybody buy all electric cars tomorrow. I mean, that would be, have to be a miracle to happen.
Right.
Just have everybody do the same thing at once. But so, everything is evolutionary in our development of commercial markets, and you can expect that as the demand grows, the grid is renewed and expanded with smart grid capabilities and battery storage devices and ways to manage the grid. Actually, electric vehicles are actually very good for the grid because what they do is they take that excess load capacity that we have at nighttime, which is caused by other forms of energy like nuclear and gas plants, where they produce a lot of energy at night. And you can't just turn those big plants off at night. So electric vehicles store that energy at night when we have to actually sell off that energy that we have excess load to other jurisdictions. So we're actually doing the grid a favor. So there's a good logic and good rationale to give free electric vehicle charging at nighttime so that we actually don't have to pay other jurisdictions to take our energy away from us in Ontario.
Well, what's the drawback to having an electric car? Why isn't everybody jumping on board?
Well, right now, I mean, the cost of the cars have come down a lot. You can now buy a car for as little as $18,000 after the provincial rebates, but there isn't a tremendous variety of cars. You don't get many 5-seater models, for example, or 7 or 8-seater models.
Right.
There just isn't the breadth of offerings. But what we do know is that over the next 12 to 24 months, there are going to be about another 2 to 3 dozen electric cars. These are plug-in electric vehicles coming to market. So, all the automotive manufacturers understand that they have to build more electric vehicles to comply with the EPA regulations in the U.S., the 53.5 miles per gallon that President Obama has mandated as an average fuel economy rating. So in order to achieve 53.5 miles per gallon, you have to build a lot of 200, 300 mile per gallon vehicles, and the only way of achieving that is with electrification.
Are you talking about fully electrical or hybrids?
Well, plug-in electric vehicles like a Chevy Volt, get you part of the way there. It helps achieve two things. It gives you long-range capability for people that are a little hesitant, but it also allows people to drive in electric mode for about 60 to 80 kilometers, which is great because the average commute in Canada is about 60 kilometers. You go to work, you come back home, you plug in at night when it's convenient. You're not standing in the freezing cold. But pure electric vehicles are really the ultimate solution to this situation we're in as far as climate change goes and as far as economic development. It really means that you're not producing any GHGs and you're lowering the cost of the vehicle as well, because when you're having two systems running in a vehicle, both hybrid, gas, and electric, that complicates things, adds weight to the vehicle too. So battery electric vehicles like the Tesla Model S, which won Motor Trend Car of the Year, the safest car ever produced, and the highest rated car ever by Consumer Reports this year, has got so much attention. I mean, the stock for Tesla Motors, for example, is up to over $20 billion as a market cap. It's a very exciting time for electric vehicles right now.
Do you think that it will be a non-traditional automaker that finally knocks this one out of the park, or do you think the Fords, the GMs, the Toyotas, whoever, will be the ones to push this forward?
Well, to knock it out of the park, yeah, it does. That takes time, and I think we've already seen some tremendous pressure put on the conventional automotive OEMs, the GMs, the Fords, the big manufacturers. I mean, those types of companies are really never the innovators. It's always the small companies in any industry that do the real innovation and break the ground. And so I think you'll see the other guys catch up, but it's going to be a slow process, unfortunately, to see all of the big manufacturers transform their fleets. But probably the next 5 to 15 years, there's going to be dramatic changes and more electric vehicles as we see. Peak oil per capita has been achieved way back in 1979. those are the kind of things that are going to put big pressure on manufacturers to produce more electric vehicles in China and India, where we're seeing, massive industrialization and vehicles being produced more and more for those people in those countries where they never had industrialization. We really have to make sure that those people drive EVs rather than fossil fuel-based powered vehicles.
Yeah, it would be good to get them at this point rather than another 30 years from now. What about batteries and the power cells in these? Is that still where the technology needs to improve?
Well, the battery technology is sufficient right now to satisfy people. I mean, like when you've already given the highest award ever to a car, the Tesla Model S, present production model, it's proof in itself that, the electric vehicles are already ready for prime time. But we do know that electric battery technology is rapidly accelerating. There's developments on an almost weekly basis, and just a matter of who commercializes first, and it really changes the whole face of it. I mean, there's considerable talk in the science journals about 3, 5 times, 10 times energy density levels over the next 5 to 10 years that we can expect. So batteries are rated for 8-year warranty right now. There really isn't a worry. If your battery fails in the 9th year, what's going to happen is you're going to have a battery that you need to replace in 9 or 10 years that's going to be 3-4 times as good, and it's going to be a quarter of the price. So the threat isn't very great.
What about reliability at this stage?
Well, the beautiful thing about pure electric vehicles is they use about 1/10 the amount of parts of a gas vehicle. There's no oil changes, for example. There's no air filters. The number of parts is just so little. You don't have pistons and crankshafts and such. And the braking systems last so much longer. I mean, really, the regenerative braking technology means that your brakes last, 3, 5, 10 times longer than vehicles without regenerative braking. So maintenance is much, much lower. That's one of the big benefits of driving an electric vehicle. They're quiet. They're incredibly powerful, much more powerful than a gas vehicle. In fact, we have a Tesla Model S that is a 7-seater and has capability of 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.9 seconds.
Nice.
Phenomenal.
Without a noise.
Yeah, silent. That's right.
All right, Stephen Beat has been with us, Regional Director, Central Canada Sun Country Highway Limited. Website we can go to, Stephen, to find out more about all of this?
Well, we have the E-MazingRace, e-mazingrace.com, and we have suncountryhighway.ca. You can check them both out.
Stephen, thanks very much for the time.
Thank you. Really great to be on the show.
It is 1:51. It's 900 CHML. I'm Scott Thompson. We're coming back.